Good afternoon and welcome to this event. Thank you guys for joining early. So I'm sure in your reminder email or text you got a notification saying if you join early you will hear a student support presentation. So I'm going to play that for you now. The event officially begins at 4 o'clock, so I will open the event properly again at that time. But for now I'm just going to play the student support presentation for you and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name's Gavin Taylor and I'm the Head of Student Services here at St George's. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the support services that we have for students here at St George's. Many of the services we offer are badged under our Student Centre or Student Life Centre banners, and these include things like health, well-being, learning support, finance and accommodation services. Let's have a look at each of those in turn and I'll give you some highlights of each of the services as we go through. So the first place to start is health. And let's talk about occupational health. Now, the occupational health team are there to ensure that students and staff are fit to undertake their work or their study alongside patients. And they're the ones in the application process who will ask you for reports about your health and will undertake tests and vaccinate you as necessary. OH are also there to make sure that any health conditions that might affect patient safety are appropriately managed. So they don't vanish on day one of your course. They're with you all the way through and all the way through your career, in fact, to make sure that you are healthy and okay and all right to work with patients. Now, universities will take a variety of different approaches to supporting the health of their students. You may find if you've been looking at large campus universities, they've got a health centre there on campus. At St George's, because we're an urban university, we work closely with our local GPs, and there are about 20 of them within about a kilometre of the St George's campus to ensure that everyone has access to all the services that they need. Most of the local surgeries will actually come onto campus for our Freshers' Fair in your first week, and they'll get everybody signed up there and accessing their services as they go through. That's how we approach your health while we're studying. Moving on to look at student well-being. So the place to start with this one is your personal tutor. So every student at St George's is assigned a personal tutor from the very first day. Now, tutors have an academic role. They'll be giving you some of your assessments while you're in study. They also have a very strong pastoral one, so they're there to make sure that you're okay and succeeding and doing your very best right the way through. And that's a big strength of the size of St George's. Our small size lets us offer that to everybody, and I think it's a real strength of what we do. Now, as well as your tutor and as well as the specialist staff on my team in the Student Life Centre, St George's has a very large, for our size, and very well-used counselling service, as well as a psychiatrist in-house to support students' mental health. We've also got a thriving faith community for a science-based university and a chaplaincy that looks after both the university staff and students and the staff at the NHS Trust as well. And we work closely with our students' union in all kinds of different things, from faith right the way through to all the different activities that they offer to make sure that there's a comprehensive network of support within the SU and the university and the trust next door and all the way through all around our students while they're studying with us. From well-being, let's have a look at some of the learning support that's on offer. So again, universities will have different approaches to writing and study skills support, but all of them will have some. Here at George's, we operate an academic success centre, and that's led by 3 senior lecturers who are there to really make sure that every student at St George's does as well academically as they possibly can. That includes all kinds of different things, from English as a second language support through writing skills and even A-level refresher catch-up sessions for our graduate entry students. So if you're feeling a bit rusty in the chemistry or the stats, they'll get you back up to speed when you start with us at George's. We also believe that we've got an ethical as well as a legal obligation to support disabled students. Now, I do get approached from time to time with students concerned that their disability may be a barrier to them taking up their place in a healthcare profession. So just to say from the outset, there are very few, if any, barriers to disabled people entering the healthcare profession. There's really no barrier there. And our aim is to ensure that our support is just as rounded as possible to make sure that everybody is supported. And that includes the academic dimension as well as the clinical placements and other things that you'll be doing, as well as all the stuff that surrounds those things, like your housing and other things as well. Now, it is worth just saying that talking to us early, if you're disabled, really does help us make sure that everything is in place to start supporting you from the very beginning of your studies. It can take a while to get everything up and running and in place that you need. So please do talk to us nice and early so we can make sure that everything is up and running and going. Now, it's also worth just saying that some students, about 50% of people with a specific learning difficulty find that out at university. And so we offer free assessments to all students and free specialist support as well, if that's the situation that you might find yourself in. So let's have a look at finance. So I guess the first thing that I'd like to say here is really just to reassure you, there are 2.5 million university students in the UK at the moment. Now, these are folk who are on the same financial footing as you will be when you are studying. The amounts of money involved in higher education at the moment are daunting. Student loans are large, fees look big. And there's a lot to think about, but just remember there are 2.5 million people who are managing okay on it. It's not necessarily an easy thing, but it is a thing that people can do, and you can do it too, and we are here to help you do it. So just some things to keep in mind. UK tuition fees are currently £9,250. They are largely set by Parliament. Will we see things change in the next few years before you start? That's a possibility. And we'll communicate that all the way through. But just for the moment, the data we've got 9250. Maximum maintenance loan. So this is for UK students who are living away from the family home in London. The maximum amount you can get in a loan from Student Finance England is £12,382 per year. And also just to note that students who are undertaking training towards allied health professions, so physiotherapy, radiography, paramedic science, and indeed our colleagues doing midwifery and nursing, they're also eligible for a bursary from the NHS of £5,000 per academic year as well. Now, if you're taking out a student loan, there are no upfront costs for attending university. So the Student Finance England or the Scottish equivalent or the Welsh equivalent or the Northern Irish equivalent will pay for your fees. And everybody is guaranteed to receive that loan if they apply for it. So if you're a UK student and it's your first degree, if you're not taking a degree, an undergraduate degree for the second time, you are eligible to have it funded by government. Now, the loans that you take out, both for your tuition fees and for your maintenance costs, become repayable after graduation once you're earning more than £27,000 per year. Also, just to note that tuition fee and maintenance support is available for all of the programs at St George's, including graduate entry pre-registration courses. Now, you may have heard that, indeed I've just said, that there are limited funds for people who are doing a second undergraduate degree. Now, just to note that for MBBS 4, for the graduate entry medicine program at George's, and the MSc physiotherapy program, they are exceptions to that rule. So those courses are fully funded from a variety of different means for your studies for the years that you're in. So do bear that in mind. Also, just to add, hardship funds are available for all students. We've got a pot of money aside for students who find themselves in unexpected difficulty while they're studying, as will most places. If you find yourself in financial difficulty at any point, do just get in touch and we can help. Now, there are some things that you can start doing now. So I think we're quite early in the application process as I'm talking to you today. So there are some things to get underway with. I think the most important one of those is to get a budget together for your tuition and maintenance costs and for the amount of money that you might have coming in. Now, there are some great budgeting tools and some finance calculators available online to help you do that. You can find those by checking our website. We'll point you at the various calculators or the NHS one or the Student Finance England one, or just Google them. There are loads of things out there, and you can work out within about 20 minutes of online searching just how much you're likely to have as income and how much you're likely to spend as a student living in London, and let you work yourself out a budget for the years that you'll be in study. It's really important to do that. It's also a really good idea to look at other sources of funding beyond Student Finance England or the NHS. There are a huge number of trusts and charities and other organizations that are there to support students in higher education, especially those students that are doing healthcare courses. So do get out and have a look for those as well. And then lastly, a quick look at accommodations. So things to know there. Most undergraduate students, certainly at St. George's, live in halls of residence with us in year one and then move out into private accommodation nearby in subsequent years. That's the typical pattern. We own our own halls of residence, Horton Halls. It's about a mile away from the university main campus, and it houses 480 students. That's about 80% of our first year intake who live in halls of residence with us. Now, we guarantee places in halls to our international students, disabled students, and students with other welfare needs. We prioritize places for all other first-year students. That includes graduate entry medics, that includes master's physician associate students, that includes MSc physiotherapy students. We have great thriving communities of our graduate entry and postgrad students in halls as well. Our halls is for everyone. Similarly, we don't prioritize places based on postcode or distance from campus. So we are looking for folk who want to get away and have a moving out of home, campus-based university experience, even if they live in London already. We're here for you. In terms of rent, to note, we benchmark our rents against local private housing as well as other halls of residence. There's been a great boom in the recent years of private companies coming into the student residential sector that has driven prices up. What we do is we make sure that we benchmark against what housing actually costs in our local area, not just what housing costs look like in higher education. And we keep our rents firmly under control that way. I'd never argue seriously to anybody that staying in halls of residence, even with us, was an inexpensive option. But I would argue, looking against local rents, we certainly are a less expensive option in a lot of cases. And halls is an extension of our student services team and is a central part of what we do as a welfare provision. So we really are there to support everybody to move in, start university, have a great time, really get underway with your studies, and really get you off on the right foot in terms of university and on into your future career. So it's a big part of what we do. And I think halls is a really terrific opportunity and a really excellent thing to do in your first year. So that's largely it from me. We've got some of my colleagues who are in the chat already for this webinar, so you can dive in and ask them questions. If you've got anything else that you'd like to know, you can contact us through the inquiries team. They'll pass on any individual or complex questions, and we're very, very happy to answer them. So please just ask us. And a slight bonus for me, I'm aware sometimes that we don't just have future students looking at this, but we also have mums and dads looking at this as well. So if you're a mum and dad watching, or you want to let them know a few things if they're concerned, here are a few things that I'd like them to know as well. So the first of that is George's is one of the safest campuses in London per the Metropolitan Police stats. We are a very safe place. We're in a very, very safe part of a big city. Students don't behave as you'd imagine is another thing I'd like you to know. Our students typically, as are many university students, our students typically are in employment. They are typically involved in community activities. The local community is usually very pleased to see our students coming rather than the opposite. They really are a huge boon to the local area. And so our students are not as students might normally be perceived to be. Universities, and George's included, will offer support and training to new students and don't pull any punches. We do anti-racism training in our first week. We do anti-sexual violence training in our first week. We don't pull any punches about what our community is about or what sort of profession that folks are trying to get into. So that will happen in the first week to keep everybody safe, to introduce them to community and really get them thinking about what's going to come ahead. We usually can't talk to you without the student directly requesting. And lastly, having the talk, and I don't mean that talk, I mean a talk about finances, is hugely invaluable and really, really is probably the best thing that you can do for a student before they get off to university. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you very much for listening to me today. Again, there are folk available for questions in the chat, and we're available really from now until you start and right the way through if you've got to ask us. My name's Gavin Taylor. Thank you very much for coming to see us today online, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. For those of you that caught that presentation, I hope it was very informative for you. So now I will officially open the event. So welcome to this webinar, which is the Introduction to Biomedical Science at St George's, University of London. My name is Lanisha. I'm the Events Officer at St George's, and I'm going to be the host for the event today. So just to let you know, we can't hear or see you, but we can communicate with you through the questions or chat box function. So if you have any questions for us at any time from now until the end of the event, please do send them through. We have lots of staff and current students online here to answer the questions that you have. Okay, so for the format of this event, we've already had the student support presentation. So in a moment, we will have a course overview from an academic from the course. That will last about half an hour. Following that, we will have a live student panel. So we have some current students here that are going to talk to you live about their experience here at St George's. And then to finish the event, we will have a live Q&A session. So if you have any questions for our current students or for our academic, then please do send those through and we'll answer some of those live during the Q&A session. And we will always also use that time to answer the questions that you guys sent in when you registered as well. So we haven't forgotten about those. Okay. Okay, so that's the format of the event. Just a bit of, let's say, health and safety. So if at any time your connection cuts out and you're logged out of the event, please do try to log back in again. We will be here up until at least 5 o'clock. So you could just join back and just catch up from that point. The event will be recorded, so if for whatever reason you're unable to join back into the event, then the recording of the event will be housed on our website on the webinars page. Finally, at the end of the event, there'll be a pop-up survey that will pop up once the event has finished. I'd be very grateful if you could take a little bit of time out just to fill out that survey. There's only a few questions there, just to let us know how we're doing and so we can make improvements for future events. Okay, so that's enough from me. And now I'll hand over to Dr. Yao, who will give you a presentation which covers an overview of the course.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me, Nisha?
Yep, we can hear you. We can't see you just as yet, though.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me see. You can put my camera on if you can be seen. Can you see me now?
Right. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. Okay, I'm going to share my screen in a minute. Just give you an overview of the course, of the Biomedical Science course. Right. Can you see my screen here?
Not just yet.
Okay, right. So
try again now to share your screen.
Share issues.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
You can see my screen on. Okay, all right. Okay, right. Okay, all right. Okay, right. So is that okay now?
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Yao.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to talk to you about the Biomedical Science course in St. George's, which we have two courses, the BSc Hons and then also the MSc Hons. Okay. So when you are choosing a course in a university or you're choosing a university, there are things that you need to consider. Some of these things are career opportunities and then facilities for the students and also the course content. And also we want to look at the satisfaction of current students and why that particular or specific university. So these are not necessarily in any order of preference, but I just put them there. So in terms of career options, what can a biomedical science degree do? With a biomedical science degree, what can you do? There are a lot of things that you can do with biomedical science degree, which includes working in a pharmaceutical industry, working as a grant funding, also even going into law, in a biotechnology, scientific policy, intellectual property, clinical research, diagnostic laboratory, forensic science, and even medical writing. And if you want to go to teaching, you can also go into teaching. And there are also a number of students who also go on to do further studies, which include MSc in the Physician Associate Studies, MRes or MS in PhD to study dentistry or either medicine. So there are a whole lot of things that you can do with the biomedical science degree. With the biomedical science degree in St. George's also, you learn a lot of transferable skills, which allow you to go and do this variety of professions, which include communication skills. You also develop your team working skills, planning and also organization management, problem solving. We also include numeracy, leadership, interpersonal skills, and also digital literacy. So we have some of these things embedded in the teaching of the course. And then within the St. George's also, we have what we call the St. George's Skills and Award Recognition, where you can showcase your skills and gain an award for each of the skills that you showcase or you gain. And this can be included on your CV. This is just to give you an overview of some of our students that have graduated and are working in different areas of different professions. We have Yasmin, who is working as a clinical research senior site manager at the Pharmaceutical Research Associate Health Sciences. Also, we have Carl, who is an auditor at KPMG. And also we have Falza, who is working as assistant for the Frontier Publishers. And we also have Deloitte, which we have George, who is working for Deloitte. And also we have got some Kalani, who is working at Paralegia and currently is studying as to become a solicitor. She's supposed to finish this year. And then also we have Hira, who graduated as a physician associate and working at Bath and St. Bartholomew Hospital, the London NHS Trust, as a physician associate at the neurosurgery. We also have other students who go on to do a PhD. For instance, Nathan, who's doing a PhD in St. George's, supposed to be finishing very soon, and also Rosie, who's doing a PhD in Washington University. So there are a lot of things that you can do with a degree in biomedical science. Now, just to give you some numbers of the first destination of graduates from St. George's Biomedical Science after 6 to 9 months after graduation. So this is not what St. George's themselves have done, but it's something that has been published by the government. So looking at 2013, 2014, we have about 29 of our graduates, 29% of them were on employment, and then about 59% on further studies. So if you look at it, about 50 to 60% of our students go on to further studies, and about 30% are on employment, go on to do some work. And we have some students where we don't know, very small number of students, about 4%, that we don't know what they are doing or who are not employed yet. So with a degree in biomedical science, you have a great opportunity either to carry on to do further studies or to get employment. And also these are some of the outcomes of graduates from St. George's Biomedical Science 15 months after graduation. So here also, depending on the respondent in 2017, 2018, here we have from the Biomedical Science BSc degree about those people that responded. That's 85, we have 23 who are employed and 15 are in further education, further employment and further education also. And then in the MSci, almost all of them, either they were employed or and further studies, either they were doing a PhD. This is just to show you the popularity of the course. So this course, Biomedical Science course, started in 1919, and we have seen that there's a gradual increase in the number of applicants. When you look at 2018, that is when there was a dip because of the UCAS choices was decreased from 6 to 5. So there was a little bit of a decrease in the number of applicants. Then from there, a substantial increase. And then also when there was introduction of fees, it also went down, but it has been increasing substantially. So every year we have an average of about 1,300 students applying to come and study biomedical science in St. George's. Now, the entry requirements for biomedical science in St. George's for the year 2022, from September 2022, is that you need a GCSE or A-level 3Bs, minimum of 3Bs, with chemistry and biology. Now, we also accept lower offers to students at schools which meet what we call the adjusted criteria. And we also accept a research over 3 years, but we do not accept general studies. Now, our requirements for the A-level is a little bit lower if you compare to other biomedical science course degrees in London, because we want to increase the widening participation to be able to accept students who have lower socioeconomic background, from lower socioeconomic background. That's why our requirements are a little bit lower than other universities within London. You need also 5 GCSE, which should include at least 6 in maths and English language, and also double science. If you are doing an IB course, then you need a minimum overall should be 34, with the higher 16 points at higher, with 6 in either biology or chemistry. We also accept access to higher education diploma, where you need to have 45 graded credits. And now for that 45 graded credits, 27 of them should be distinction and 18 should be merit. Now, within St. George's, there are about 3,700 undergraduate students. And the biomedical science, the intake for biomedical science every year is 250 students. We have about 1,200 students doing medicine, and there are a lot of other students who are also studying in St. George's allied to medicine. So within St. George's, the St. George's University of London, every student here is studying something to do with healthcare. So we have healthcare scientists, paramedics, physiotherapists, radiographers, diagnostic, and also therapeutic. And also we have students studying clinical pharmacology. So it's purely a healthcare university. And also we have, why I'm showing this to let you know that we also take very good interest in our research, because we know that research underpins our teaching in St. George's. So whilst you are in St. George's, you have the opportunity to work in the lab. For the first 2 years as a biomedical science student, you'll be doing a lab practical every week, and you work in pairs. And also when you get to the 3rd year, then you will be working one-on-one with an academic who may be expert in their area of study, and where you have to do your project. So you have an opportunity to work within the laboratory and use some of these equipments. Now, teaching and learning. The course is made up of 2 semesters. So the academic year is made up of 2 semesters of 30 weeks in total. And we expect students to work approximately 40 hours per week. So that 40 hours per week means that you have a 14 to 18 hours per week of contact teaching. So I'm talking about contact teaching when there is no lockdown. I mean, under normal circumstances. Because of the lockdown or the restrictions, things have changed a little bit, but we are still trying to manage to have more contact teaching on campus coming next year. So you have also lectures. So among the contact teaching will include lectures, where the cohort of the 250 students will be in a lecture theater and will be giving a lecture by an academic. And then To consolidate the lectures, you have tutorials where there are about a group of 8 students who come together, and then you will be given an area to go and study, to go and learn, to go and research, and come back and discuss amongst yourself, where there will be an academic who directs you or who support you in your learning. This is done in the first 2 years. And also within the first 2 years, also there are practicals every week, as I mentioned earlier on, where students will work in pairs. So you work with one of your colleagues, and then at the practical in the laboratory, you submit your results and it is assessed. So practicals are also assessed. It's a continuous assessment and becomes part of your mark for the year, the first 2 years. Also, we do what we call DR, or the dissection room, where you go to anatomy and dissect cadavers. So the students, biomedical students, will be doing anatomy just like the medical students in St. George's. The difference that the detail is not as much as the MBBS students, but you also be doing anatomy for the 2 years. So you'll be dissecting cadavers, that is human bodies, for the first 2 years. And then in the third year, you have a final year research project. So just want to give you a bit of the course content. So the core subject for the first 2 years, you'll be doing anatomy, cell and molecular biology, genetics, immunology, pharmacology, pathology, and also physiology, and of course the anatomy dissection. And you do some research, laboratory and research techniques, and also methods. In the second year, you will be doing molecular basis of diseases, which include cellular pathology, clinical biochemistry, hematology, and also you'll be doing microbiology and immunology, which comprises of infection and immunity, clinical genetics. You also be doing some study skills and learning strategies. So these are also embedded in the course, showing you how to do calculation and then data handling, statistics, and then communication and writing skills. So all these things are transferable skills that you gain whilst you are doing the course, biomedical science degree course in St. George's. So in the first year, for the semester 1, you'll be doing what we call the 4 fundamentals of living cell, which is 30 credits, and then fundamentals of pathology, fundamentals of pharmacology and physiology, and then the personal and academic skills. So under these fundamentals, that is where we come, the cell and molecular biology subjects come in. But these are the modules. So there is the modular system. So the year 1, semester 1, there are 4 modules. That's the fundamentals of living cell, fundamentals of pathology, fundamentals of pharmacology and physiology, and also personal and academic skills. And then in semester 2, you'll be doing physiology, anatomy, and also you continue to do the personal and academic skills. And when you come to semester 3, that is second year. The second year, you have these modules. You do genomics, you do physiology, you continue to do the anatomy, and then also you do the personal and academic skills. So it's very important. These personal and academic skills are these transferable skills that we are talking about. And then in semester 4, that's where you do the molecular basis of diseases, where I mentioned the microbiology, clinical biochemistry, and then also hematology. And also you will be doing the microbiology and immunology, which includes infection and immunity, and also the genetics. And of course, the personal and academic skills also, you have 10 credits of that, whereas on semester 4. So just to tell you a little bit about the personal and academic skills, what do this involve? It involves writing. So literature search, referencing, plagiarism, so that will show you that how to write an article or how to write a review without plagiarizing, or when you are writing an essay without plagiarizing. So all these things we teach your students in the course of their study in St. George's. And they also do some study skills, particularly transition from school to university, where you are an independent learner, can be a very, very difficult and very daunting. So we help our students to manage their time and also some learning strategies. And then also we have the employability. There's also a career advice embedded in the teaching in St. George's, and we help students in terms of communication skills. For example, if you are going for an interview, we support our students. And then they're also working in group. There's also quantitative research methods, how to do data analysis and then calculations. And of course, qualitative research methods is also part of the personal and academic skills. And then in the final year, so this, what I've just talked about are the first 2 years. Now in the final years, it's up to you to choose a pathway. So when you come to the final year, you choose a pathway that, or an area that you want to specialize. And what you do is that in the final year, you have 75 credits of taught modules and then 45 credits of research project. And among the taught modules, you will be selecting 2 30 credits ideally, and then 1 15 credits to make a total of 75 credits. And then a research project, which you have to choose the one that you are interested, area that you are interested in. So this is just an overview of some of the modules, the 15 credit modules on the left-hand side, and then the 30 credit modules. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of them. These are all in the website, and if you go to the St. George's website, you can find all these things. And also, if someone is doing what we call BSc Clinical Bioscience, so the top ones are for BSc Biomedical Science with maybe area that you specialize, which I'll talk about shortly. And then the BSc Clinical Bioscience is reserved for students who would like to do medicine, who have got an offer to do medicine. Also, I will explain that one a little bit later. Now, degree pathways. So there's a lot of degree pathways, as I mentioned earlier on, that when you come to the third year, you choose a pathway. So you can choose the anatomy pathway, for instance, okay? And then it means you will be doing your taught modules will include development and diseases, which is 30 credits, an image of anatomy, that is 30 credits, and then clinical applied musculoskeletal anatomy, which is 15 credits. So that will be 75 credits. And then choose a research project, which will go with that one, a research project of also 45 credits. So all these pathways, anatomy, cell and molecular biology, genomic, global health and humanities, infection and immunity, medical ethics and law, physiology and pharmacology. We have also the psychology and psychiatry and neuroscience, and also the clinical bioscience are all pathways. So you choose one of these pathways. So when you graduate, because you are doing a minimum of 75 taught modules, when you graduate, you get BSc Biomedical Science with anatomy if you choose the anatomy pathway. So you specialize in the anatomy. On the other hand, as I mentioned earlier on, also we have the BSc and we have the MSci. The MSci, you also will go on a pathway which will include the biomedical research techniques and drug development. And then we also will talk about that one, the MSci. I'll explain that one a little bit more details as we go along. There's also different pathways: cell and molecular biology, clinical neuroscience, conflict and catastrophe medicine, immunity and infection, and also science of reproduction. These are some of the pathways that you can select if you are doing the 4-year degree MSci. Now, so I mentioned that 75 credits of taught modules and 45 credits of research project. So these are some of the research project modules. So anatomy and development, medical, behavioral medicine, biochemistry and molecular biology, clinical neuroscience, clinical science, medical microbiology, pharmacology, physiological science, and a whole lot of areas that you can select to do your project in. So in addition to the 75 taught modules, you select a research project where you work in the lab one-to-one with an academic for 3 months, and then you write a project with that one. Okay. So we say, George, so because of the different pathways, there's a flexible degree structure. So when you do the BSc degree, you will graduate with BSc Biomedical Science with anatomy, or with cell and molecular biology, with genomics, or with medical ethics and law, or with psychology, psychiatry, and neuroscience. So depending on which pathway that you would choose, you will graduate with that area of specialty that you specialize. With the MSci, which is also the biomedical science course, is a research. The MSci is mainly a research skills module with an extensive research project. And here you gain greater practical and research skills than someone who is doing a 3-year BS biomedical science. It's much more competitive for PhD study. So when you do the MSci, you become more competitive if you want to do a PhD in later, or if you want a research post in academia or a pharmaceutical industry or bioscience industry. And this MSci course is eligible for 4 years of student loan. And it's an opportunity for final year study abroad. So when you do the MSci, you can do your final year at abroad. And there are some universities in Barcelona and also in the Netherlands where you can go there and do your final year projects there. The MSci Biomedical Science in St. George's is the only one in London. And this Biomedical Science MSci is a continuous integrated 4-year program, and it is aimed at students who are interested in science and also in research. Now, what happens is that you can start with MSci. You can register from MSci for the first year, but change to BSc, or you can start with the BSc and then change to the MSci later in the year. And you can do that only after second year. So if you look at the first 2 years, okay, the first year you taught modules is 120, whether it's MSci or with the BS 3-year BSc. In the first 2 years, you are doing the same thing. It's only when you are going to the third year, if you want to do the MSci, and you are at the end of second year, your average score for the first 2 years should be 60% or above. So if you register for MSci from first year and you don't get 60%, you will be asked to go and do the 3-year course. Now, if you do the 3-year course and you get 60% and above, you want to come to the MSci, you will be allowed to come to do the MSci after second year. Okay, so with the MSci, you can see that with the MSci, there are a lot of research projects. The research project has got 105 credits, 105 credits, 105 credits here, as opposed to the BSc, which has got only 45 credits. So you do a lot more of research in the MSci. This on your final year, in the 4th year, you do bigger projects, which has 105 credits as opposed to 45 credits at the 3rd year if you are doing the 3-year BSc degree. Now, within St. George's, in St. George's also, we have what we call the professional training year. So the professional training year is something that enhances the employability of our students upon graduation. So what is this professional training year? This is an optional, but it is integrated part of the degree. It's normally 11 to 12 months experience in a professional or industrial area which is relevant to biomedical science. Or you can also do 7 to 8 months for an Erasmus scheme, that is go outside somewhere in Europe to study or to do your project for 7 to 8 months. And some of these Erasmus schemes or some of these professional training years are paid, others are not paid. But very, very important that you gain experience. And that takes place only after the second year. So it's only after second year that you can do the professional training year. And why the aim of this professional training year is to prepare the students for the world of work beyond university. It also enables the student to develop key employability skills that employers are looking for that will equip you in this changing demand of the world in the workplace. It enables the students also to mature through personal and professional development and also to evaluate your placement experience. So when you go to placement, then you can evaluate yourself and see, oh, can I do this thing in future? Is it what I want to do? And also, in addition to that, it will enhance your CV. Now, there have been a study which has been found that students who do the professional training year, this sandwich course, tend to earn more higher than their colleagues who do not do the professional training year. So this is the first year for here, the 1 year after graduating, you see the students that did professional training year, they earn higher than those that did not do professional training year. And in 10 years, they are still earning much, much higher than those who did not do any professional training year. This is because the students will they gain more experience after their graduation. So when you are going to employment, you already have the experience. Beside the experience also that you gain, because you also get more contact with people in either in academia or industry. So you have the chance of getting employment much quicker than your colleagues or your counterparts who did not do any professional training. So this is something that was a study, or this thing that's been found by the Department of Educational Longitudinal Educational Outcome. It's not something that St. George's did, but by the Department of Education. So I always encourage students to take this professional training year to enhance their employability and also to get more experience before they graduate. Now, we help our students, unlike some universities that you have to go and look for your own place of going to do the placement. St. George's, we look for the placement for our students. Now, it starts from the pre-placement. The first 2 years will help you in preparation of your CV and also help you in your preparing your applications, and then also help you preparing you for an interview and getting a place for you. So we get the places, but you have to go for an interview. But we will help you to prepare you for the interview. Now, when you get the interview, when you get the offer, or you are successful in your interview and go to your professional training year at the 3rd year, so that will be on your 3rd year. Whilst you are there, you have a visit by an academic who assess you in terms of what you are doing, and then also at the end of your training year, you write some like a project, short project. Okay, that will be, then you get a certificate of professional training year, which will be issued by St. George's. And after that, you come back to St. George's to graduate, to complete your course, do your course, your 3rd year or the 4th year course. Okay, and then at the 4th year also you submit a final report and also your project dissertation. You submit that one. So there are different places that we send our students to, which include GSK, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and then also Public Health England, and also the St. George's Healthcare in the NHS Trust, Great Ormond Street Hospital, and then King's College, and then also University College of London. And on the right here is the Erasmus Schemes that I mentioned about, that students can go to some of the European countries. Particularly now we have Spain and also the Netherlands that students can go to do their 12 months or 11 months or 8 months Erasmus scheme study there or do a project there. And after that, you come back to continue. So you can be earning some money whilst you are doing this professional training year. We have some of our students who are earning about £20,000 a year whilst still doing their professional training year. So it's not only about the financial benefit, but also the experience that you gain. So in the first cohort for this in St. George's for this professional training year placements was in 2018-2019, where 10 students some went to Pfizer, some went to Congenica, and some went to KCL, and some to St. George's and UCL. In the second cohort, 2019-2020, 14 students also went to different places, including GSK and also Great Ormond Street and also Erasmus, others to Europe, and some were in St. George's and KCL. And then the last cohort, the current cohort, there we have 7 students. Some of them are working, studying or doing their project in the UCL. Some are at MSD, some also at St. George's, and then one of them is in GSK. So beside the experience that the students get, I mean, the personal and transferable skills that they gain, and then the experience, the work experience that they gain, they also get the benefit. Some of the students also were able even to publish, get publications. So we got one of our students, two of our students who got publications from their professional trainee whilst working in Spain and also in the Amsterdam. So it is a very good experience and a very good thing that I recommend to students, that they take a very critical look at that one, irrespective of what they want to do after their graduation. Now, becoming a doctor after your biomedical science degree. Approximately about 30% of St. George's biomedical science graduates go on to do medicine, and there are three routes or three ways that they can get into medicine. The first one is for St. George's course only. That is, the students who are studying in St. George's and want to do medicine in St. George's only. That is the first one, where there is a direct entry to the T or second year of the 4-year MBBS for St. George's medicine course. That is after they have finished their biomedical science degree. So this one is for students who have achieved to be able to get onto that one. Then at the end of your second year, so the first 2 years, your average score should be 66% minimum. Okay, and then if you get a 66% minimum, then you'll be invited for an interview. That's after second year. At the end of the second year, you'll be invited to an interview within St. George's. And if you interview the students, and they are ranked in order of merit. So the students that do well at the interview are ranked, and the top 25 are given a conditional offer. That is conditional offer that they have to go to their 3rd year biomedical science, complete the 3rd year degree, their degree in biomedical science in the 3rd year, and should get a minimum of 2-1. And when they get a minimum of 2-1 after graduation, then they go to the 2nd year of their 4-year MBBS program. So in total, you do biomedical science for 3 years and you do medicine for 3 years. It becomes 6 years in total. So that is the first route to go get to medicine. And this is only applied to students who are doing biomedical science in St. George's, only biomedical science students. And 25 students we have 25 places for that place. And then the second one is graduate entry courses at many universities, including St. George's. So if you don't get into the transfer to the 2nd year of the MBBS 4, then you can do the 4-year MBBS, which is the graduate entry in so many universities. That means in total, you do it for 7 years. So you do 3 years for the biomedical science degree, and then 4 years for the MBBS. And then that includes St. George's. You can also apply for St. George's, the 4-year degree. So you start from the MBBS 4, starting from year 1. But that one you have to do either GAMSAT or you have to do the UK CAT, depending on what university you want to apply to. Then the 3rd year is the traditional non-medical course, non-graduate medical course at many universities. That's the 5 years. So some students also go on to start the 5-year MBBS course. So after St. George's 3 years, they will also go and do another 5 years for MBBS somewhere else. Some of them even come to St. George's, and some go to other universities. So in total, you do it for 8 years. So 3 in St. George's biomedical science, and then 5 years for the medical degree. So within St. George's, there's a flexible degree structure. So the first one that if you do biomedical science, you get the BSc biomedical science with anatomy, or with cellular and molecular biology, or with medical law and ethics, or with infection and immunity. Now, with the students who at the end of the 2nd year have been qualified or have been successful at the interview to go and do medicine after their graduation, those students go to a different pathway called the clinical bioscience pathway. Okay, So when you, at the end of the second year, you are called for interview and then you become successful, then you go through the clinical bioscience pathway at the third year. Okay, so in the third year, you'll be studying 30 credits of clinical anatomy, 30 credits of clinical communication skills, and also professional skills. And you do a small project, 15 credits, which is structured project, 15 credits of research project, as opposed to 45 credits of the students who are not doing the clinical bioscience pathway. Now we have normally we have 60 places for this clinical bioscience pathway. So the first 25 is reserved for the students who have been successful to go and do medicine after their graduation. And then we take another 35 students. Some of them maybe they were not successful in St. George's to do the graduate entry in St. George's, i.e. the T year of the MBBS 4, but they want to do medicine in future somewhere else. Those students can also come and do the clinical bioscience. Those students can also be taken on to do the clinical bioscience, but normally they are maximum of 60 places. So we take beside the 25, we take another 35 to that, to add to that 25 and make it 60. So those students will also graduate with BSc clinical bioscience. Okay, so and then the third degree is the MSci Biomedical Science. The MSci Biomedical Science, where year 3 you do 120 credits, and then when you come to year 4 also you do 120 credits, which includes 105 credits of research project. So there are flexible degree structures, BSc Biomedical Science with anatomy and with the different pathways that are mentioned, or BSc Clinical Bioscience, or the MSci Biomedical Science. So to summarize, the course, our course here is, if you want to come to St. George's, you want to study within a healthcare university, which is closely integrated with one of UK's busiest hospitals. And you can also select your pathway and specialize in the final year. There's also an option to transfer to the 4-year MSci degree. So you can start with the 3-year BSc, but transfer to the 4-year MSci degree. You can also gain professional experience during the optional professional trainee year. And you can also go on the Erasmus scheme and summer placement in Europe. There's also career advice and support, which is embedded into our teaching. So you get advice as you go along, and also transferable skills are taught within the course. And of course, there's also the clinical transfer route into medicine, different routes, 3 routes that I've just explained. So it provides a broad understanding of the scientific basis of human health and diseases if you study in the biomedical science in St. George's. And this includes study, investigation, diagnosis, and also treatment of diseases. Thank you for your attention. That brings my talk to an end.
Thank you, Dr. Yao. I hope the audience found that presentation very informative, as I did. So now we're going to go into our student panel. So if I could have our current students online, please. Awesome. All right, so now you're going to hear from our current students. They're going to spend about 4 or 5 minutes introducing themselves and talking to you a bit about their experiences at St. George's. So I'm going to hand over to Mira to kick us off. Thank you, Mira.
Hey guys, my name is Mira and I have just finished my whole degree at St. George's as a biomedical sciences student, so I've completed the 3 years. So yeah, I'm originally from Hertfordshire, and I would say my favourite thing about doing biomed at St. George's is the variety of modules there are for us. So I've experienced and learned things ranging from anatomy, physiology, but then in my third year, where I got to choose my module, I picked medical ethics and law. This was quite a different sort of learning style, and the content was very different in my first 2 years in terms of the content being very science heavy. So I like how, you know, there's a real variety for you know, you might not like lab-based things and you'll still find things that you enjoy. And one thing that I've really enjoyed was getting to use cadavers for anatomy, since I was initially interested in studying medicine. So this sort of like gave me an insight into what learning anatomy is like, because, you know, you sort of get a taster into it and then you can pursue it further. So I first came to St George's through clearing because I applied for medicine. I unfortunately missed my grades, so I didn't meet my offer. But luckily I was able to get a place at St George's, and that's given me, you know, a really good understanding of, you know, the human body and diseases, and, you know, I can really use that to now go on to study medicine, which I will be starting in September. So that's super exciting. And yeah, that's really me. I think Neha, do you want to go next?
Okay. So hi, I'm Neha, and I'm also a final year biomedical science student, and I specialized in genomics. I'm originally from Austria, but I moved to London for university, and I specifically chose St. George's because it's an entirely healthcare focused university. So you really get to see how healthcare works in a multidisciplinary system. And our lecturers, they range from medical researchers to doctors to public health experts. So you really get to see how healthcare is approached and affected from different perspectives, and how it all combines together to provide optimized healthcare for people. And all your peers at university will also be doing healthcare related courses. So it's a great way to connect to each other and also to learn from each other. There are also a lot of research groups at St. George's that are working specifically on medical developments, and many of your lecturers will also be working on these projects. So you also have the opportunity to talk to them and find out more about their work, and even apply for research internships in their labs, which is a really useful thing to add to your CV. My favorite part about the course was probably doing my final year research project, where I had the chance to analyze new DNA sequencing methods, and I got to work with a research team at St. George's that are working on antibiotic resistance, which is a really important area of research right now. And through this project, I got to see some really cutting edge research and developments being made in the field. And overall, it was a really great insight into how scientific research is performed and communicated. And it's a really great basis if you want to continue on a career in medical research, or if you want to continue to do a master's or PhD, which is what I'm planning to do. And societies have also been a great part of university life and have helped everyone stay connected, even as everything has gone online. So they continue to do things like host Zoom quizzes or Netflix parties. So you have the opportunity to meet new people and stay connected with old friends. Some sports societies have also done things like run Instagram challenges that aim to raise money for charity. So that's a really good thing to get involved in. But hopefully next year things will move back to more in-person events, so you have the chance to go on campus and meet people in real life as well. So since teaching has moved online, for me, since I specialized in genomics, all of my classes were done online, and it was quite an easy change because we already use a lot of computational methods for most things. And a lot of things being online also meant that everything was recorded and you could watch lectures and tutorials and go at your own pace, which for me was super helpful. But the main challenge was just trying to stay organized and trying to stay on top of things. So it was really up to you to decide how you spent your time. But there was also a lot of support to help you with any difficulties you faced. For example, My modules had a weekly catch-up session where you could ask questions about anything you were unclear on or had difficulties with, and our professors were always really useful and helpful, willing to explain things until you understood them. Since I'm an international student, the international student team also was really useful in helping me get settled into London. You get paired with someone in the older years that can help you integrate better into university life and help you with any difficulties you had as well. So I'll pass on to Alexandra now.
Okay, I hope you can hear me. So my name is Alexandra and I'm in my first year. So I basically done almost the whole year online. But I can say it was really helpful because I could watch the lectures all over again, and I also got some lab work experience that was offline, so it was great. And I'm originally from Poland, so I'm an international student. And I think the best thing of studying at St. George's was actually getting some personal work. So we have academics, so we have lectures, but also we have a personal to study. So when I went to high school, we used to have like a really big pressure from the school and we didn't have a lot of time to study alone. So it was like really great for me that I could study by myself in my own time and when I wanted to. But I was also really surprised how much helpful was the help of a personal tutor. So I got a really nice professionalist, and she really did help me in my studies. She really helped me to get adjusted to the uni and how is it here. And she really was keeping me calm at the moments where I was just like going crazy. So it was really great to have a personal tutor at the uni, and I think that's a great thing. But I also really enjoy meeting a lot of people here. So at St. George's, you have a lot of diverse people. So you met people from all over the world, I would say. I lived in a host in my first year for at least for a half of a year, and I met people from New Zealand, but also from North America, and obviously from Europe. But it really helped me to see how diverse is the world and how diverse are the cultures here. So it was really great because although I live in London, it was so many people with so much different experience. And when it goes to uni, I don't think I would say that I really also enjoyed the anatomy module, as Mira was talking about. It was really great actually to get some medical work and to see how is it exactly done. So now I really feel like I know a lot about human body, and it's kind of like making me feel proud, I would say. So yes, I think that's all I can say here, and we can move on, I think. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for your insight. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the event now. So we're just going to take a few moments out to answer any final questions that you guys might have. So could I ask Dr. Yao to please join us as well in case we have any questions from your perspective? Thank you. So I have a few questions that our registrants sent in beforehand, and I just want to fire them at you guys and let's answer those as quick as we can, because I want to try and get through most of them before the event finishes. Where are they? Okay, so here we go. Where is it? Here we go. So somebody asked, why biomedical science? So maybe I'll throw this to you, Mira. Why did you choose biomedical science?
So I chose biomedical science because I wanted to learn much more about the human body. like I said before, I came in through clearing, so I didn't really know what to expect. So I had the option of taking a year out and redoing my A-levels, but I really wanted to, you know, challenge myself and you know, enhance my knowledge on learning about diseases and the human body. And like I said, there's so many different modules that encompass biomedical sciences, and you get to go through a lot of them during your time at St George's. So I'd say, you know, if you're interested in biology and chemistry, and you know, you like the human body, definitely go for biomedical sciences, because once you sort of are in the degree, you'll find areas that you'd like to specialise in or pursue further, which you get to do during your third year.
Okay, thank you for that. And a question for you, Dr. Yao. Somebody has asked, can you take part in research electives during university holidays?
Right. I think one of the students was mentioned that they get some research experience from some of the academics. So yes, you can. You have to contact an academic within the St. George's campus, and a lot of us are happy to give some of our students some research experience during the holidays. Yes, but if it's outside the university, that means you have to make your own arrangements. But within the university, also you make your own arrangements. And also there are sometimes the university advertise for some scholarship. So for some students, but that one means there's a very few students. But students can contact an academic themselves, and then most of us are happy to give students at least 2 weeks experience in the lab. I've done that a few times. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And somebody else asks, is the biomedical science course accredited by Ibms?
Right, the St. George's one is not accredited by is it Ibms? Yes. Well, the reason being that for the past 20 years or so, or 15 years, the biomedical science students from St. George's, we've had only about 2, when the Ibms means that they can go and work in a hospital laboratory. Yeah. So, but we found that most of our students, if you see what I showed there, that most of our students, a lot of them go to further studies, either to do medicine, to do PhD, or all sorts of things. So not many of them go to the hospital laboratory to work. So we thought that probably it is not worth making it Ibms accredited, so that we can be flexible with the curriculum, change things, make it easier, or make it much more attractive for the students. So the students, if they finish and they want to go and work in a place like any hospital, they can do a course. I think that they can do some course for them to become accredited, because we feel that for 20 years or so, only 2 or less than 10 students have gone to work in a hospital laboratory. So there was no need for us to become accredited, yeah, to allow us to give us the flexibility to change some of the modules curriculum.
Okay, thank you. And another question, either for you, Yao, or the students. Someone has asked, what does an average student timetable look like for this course? So maybe we could just have just a quick kind of overview of what maybe it might look like for a first-year student and then maybe a third-year student.
I think I would like the students to maybe answer those. Maybe any of them can. Mira, what do you think? Or Alexandra? Mira, if you tell, because you have, because I think Alexandra might be difficult because she has only done first year and most of them have been online. Probably you have a mix of that, so probably you'll be the best position to tell us something.
So I'd say that the first 2 years are very lecture heavy. So you'll be in most days, Monday to Friday, starting at 9 AM, mostly finishing around 3. So once a week you get a tutorial. So this is where, you know, you're in a group of about 10 people with a tutor for the whole year. You go through, you know, case-based learning or just scenarios, and just it's meant to like aid in your like lecture learning. So it's running parallel to what you're learning in your lectures. And then like you said, Dr. Yao, you get practicals as well, normally once a week. So those last for like the whole afternoon or the morning session. But then in my third year, I was only in twice a week. That was because I chose medical ethics and law, and it was just the way that it was timetabled was I would have like long periods on the days I was in. So I'd say a lot more lecture content in first and second year, a lot more labs and practicals, but then depending on what you choose in your third year, you'll either have a lot of labs or no labs, and in your third year you get a lot of time assigned for your research project as well, which makes up a lot of third year.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that, Mira. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly myself just answer a few questions quickly that were sent in. So somebody asked, what is clearing? So clearing is when any remaining places that universities have left, they basically release those into clearing. So when A-level results come out in August, those final places can be taken up by students once they have their final grade. Somebody asked for information about the paramedic science course. We will have a paramedic science webinar later on in the year. So if you visit our website and go to the webinars page, you can book for the paramedic science webinar. Somebody asked about if they'll be able to study dentistry. I would advise you to look at the institutions that you wish to study that course at and see what their entry requirements are for that. And there was a few questions about transfers, which I think Dr. Yao has covered very well within his presentation. Okay, so we have one final question that was just sent in by Hannah Solomon, and that is, do you have any advice for first-year students transitioning from A-levels into biomedical science? So I guess if each of you students could just give one piece of advice. I'll start with Alexandra. So from someone transitioning from A-levels to the first year of biomed.
Okay, so this will be an advice from my personal teacher. So there is like a lot of content when you're at the university. And what she told me was, you won't learn everything. So just learn as you go, learn in your own time, and you will get it anyway. And it was really helpful because when I saw like all of those books listed and there was so much of the content, and I know I couldn't read a book a day, I just reminded myself, okay, you don't have to know exactly everything. So if you study constantly, you will get it. So that would be my advice, not to freak out.
What about you, Neha?
So the main difference I found moving from high school to university was that during your university, you had to organize your own time and how you plan your studies. It's not like at school where a timetable is given to you. But I would say just at the beginning of the year, set out a timetable, set out how many study hours do you want to dedicate to each module. And as Alexandra said, talk to your personal tutor, because if you have any specific difficulties, they're there to help you with that. And just take advantage of all the offers that university has, such as counseling, your personal tutor, and the peer support systems. They're all designed to help you succeed. So just take advantage of all of those.
Thank you. And Mira, any advice?
I would say, I know during A-levels, you rely heavily on looking at past papers and, you know, going through mark schemes and things like that. At university, it's a little bit harder to access questions and past papers. So I would say make your own ones. Just look at lectures and think, oh, you know, how can I make a question out of these facts? What could I predict? And I think that's really helpful. And also, don't be afraid to ask your lecturers if you don't understand something. If you don't want to ask it during the lecture, just go to them after or just email them. Like, they're not as scary as they seem. They always want to help you. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
That's nice. That's nice of you, Mira.
Okay, now this is our final question sent in, so we're not going to take in any more questions sent in. So if you do have any remaining questions following this event, please do send them in, maybe to study@sgul.ac.uk, and the inquiries team will aim to get your question answered as soon as possible. So our final question from Safa is, do students need to buy many books? Will St. George's tell students what to buy for the course? Anybody can answer.
In my experience, usually books are a recommendation, and you can usually borrow them at the library, so you don't have to buy it, or they'll have ebooks available. But yeah, in my experience, I didn't rely heavily on books, but mostly on research papers and articles. And you have access to all of those through the library as well. And I think especially in biomed, it's really important that you read research papers because everything is changing so much. And with journals and articles, you get the most up-to-date information, whereas with books, the information can be quite outdated.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that, Neha. Thank you to you, Dr. Yao, and all of you students for your specialist insights. And thank you to our audience for tuning in today. So if there are any remaining questions, as I said, please do email study@sgul.ac.uk and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you've enjoyed the event today. Take care and see you all later. Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.